Good morning, campers. Let's do a reading. We're gonna do a full moon reading for this collective because we have upcoming full moon in Gemini. I believe on the 4th or the 5th. I think it's Friday. I'm blocking already. I'm gonna tell you why. It's important because it's the last full moon of this year. Full moons are always about releasing, right? About releasing, closing cycles, leaving something behind. It's an opportunity. I always say this to you guys. Full moons, new moons, retrogrades, they're not excuses for you to say, oh, I feel that way, I feel crazy because it's, what's going on in the planet. It's energy that brings an opportunity that if we harvest it properly, we can use it for our benefit instead of just fighting with it, right? So full moons are about closures, releasing something, completing something, right? And this full moon is in Gemini. Gemini, what I want to mention, two things, is ruled by Mercury, which is communication, speaking our truth, speaking from our heart. So maybe there is a communication that you have to have. Maybe there's a conversation you have to have with somebody. Maybe there's something that is on your heart and you have to release it. I have been hearing that maybe for this collective, you don't necessarily have to have an actual conversation in a physical, but you have to say it out loud, right? Speak the words that you never had a chance to speak to someone. Again, we're going to tap into it, but sometimes, you guys, it's not really about sitting in front of a person. It's about maybe calling in upon their higher self, with assistance of our higher self, of our guides, and just speaking out loud, whether that's to a mirror or envisioning that person in your mind's eye, to have that, because closure is something that we seek on our end. That's it. Everything else, whether someone forgives us, understands us, how we deal with that, it's always on our end, right? It's a deviation, long introduction, but maybe it's needed for this collective. And also, Gemini is a little bit about the battle between the heart and the mind, right? The intellect and the emotion. So we're going to really feel into how are you feeling, how are you doing. I feel there's sensitivity to this collective, but let's see. Let's start from the emotions. How are you feeling? How are you feeling, this collective? Let's do 4 cards for your first row. There it is. 2 more. Okay. All right, we have some deep emotions here, you guys. We have trust. This is your first card. This is air sign number 18. What I was hearing with this one is that no matter what's going on around you, you would have a sense of trust. You would have a sense of things must be happening for a reason. I have to understand it, I have to embrace it, I have to accept it, whatever that is, whatever you're saying to yourself, but there's no fighting with what's going on. It's like you trust that things are happening for a reason. If universe takes something away, it's because it's meant to be, it's because there's something greater, which is beautiful. This is a very important element of a journey of healing, transformation, whatever is it that you're dealing with, that trust that everything will work out, that things are the way they're meant to be. It's a very beautiful and very important thing. We have heartbreak and we have betrayal. So I was sensing a little bit as I was saying about the communication. This is why I mentioned that you may not have a chance to have that conversation. Maybe this collective, you recently broken up with somebody, your heart was broken, maybe there was betrayal involved, some lies, dishonesty, maybe this person was not faithful to you. It's a heavy emotion around love, around relationship, romantical relationship, to have heartbreak, to have betrayal, but I stand by what I said. Sometimes we have this need in life, right? But it's the need of the ego to seek for answers. Why? Why did it happen? Why did you do this to me? Why did you? But sometimes there is no why, right? Life is a complicated chessboard. Ultimately, there are answers for everything, but sometimes our consciousness is not on an enough level to fully comprehend the why certain things were happening. And this is why the trust is so important. I feel like this collective, even though you're not necessarily understanding and knowing why certain things are happening or in understanding all the answers, you have trust that things are happening the way they're meant to happen, because we also have awakening, which is a beautiful card. So maybe this heartbreak, this betrayal, triggered something within you. I want to read through this betrayal too. I'm guided to read through it, so we'll do it in a moment. But maybe it triggers something deeper. Maybe it forced you and it pushed you. And I always say this to you guys, pain is difficult, but pain is necessary for us to grow, for us to expand. It's something that we have to sometimes be broken to really look inwards into the things that we were ignoring and that we were not acknowledging. So you're definitely awakening to certain things. Betrayal is an extremely painful emotion caused by lack of honesty, loyalty, integrity, or truthfulness from people we love. In consequence, we tend to lock our heart to avoid facing it again. Often unable to understand betrayal, we blame love and relationships. This develops fear of commitment and love, trust issues, fear of intimacy and vulnerability, stubbornness and self-sabotage, controlling and shallow behavior in relationships. Through self-work, confirmation. Through self-work, we learn to recognize patterns within ourselves and others, which allows us to assess if it's safe to open in a connection. We begin to trust ourselves and our intuition. We love ourselves enough to introduce boundaries in relationship and always progress at our own pace. Confirmation that I was guided to read this through. We're going to stop for a moment and we're going to talk about betrayal, because this is important, you guys. So many people, when they go through an emotion of betrayal, situation of betrayal, which is, as the card said, extremely painful situation, okay? When we love someone, we put our trust into someone, right? Our emotion, we invest our energy, our time, we give, right? And we are cheated on, we're lied to. It's extremely painful. And many people, they don't know how to deal with that pain. So they shift the blame. Love and relationships. Love hearts. How many songs like that, love hearts, relationships chain. It ain't true, you guys. Relationship between two mature people are beautiful. Love is what we all seek. Love is what keeps us going. Love is the meaning of life, truthfully, not just in romantic relationships, but love is everything. And love is not to blame, and relationships are not to blame. Union is not to blame. It is us, unfortunately, and we have to face that. But if you're watching this, you're ready. You are awakening. It is understanding that it is on us to know ourselves enough and know human nature enough to be trusting and open, not locking our heart and becoming bitter and, but trusting, continuing to trust, to believe in love, having our heart open, but knowing ourselves enough and human nature enough not to deal with someone that would cheat on us. Because I'm going to tell you something, and it's a controversial thing, and many people have many opinions, but what I can channel to you is that, yes, what you have to remember, and I've mentioned this in one of the readings in last week, it's so important to really be aware of that. Everyone has a capacity to change. Everyone has a capacity to grow, to overcome their shadows, and to become a better person, to become the best version of themselves, right? That being said, the fact that someone cheats on you has nothing to do with you, with the situation, with the fact that the relationship is unhappy and unfulfilling. It's that person. And I don't want to go that far to say once a cheater, always a cheater, because again, people change, people have the capacity to reflect. Especially that betrayal is something that always comes from wounded people. No one healed and balanced, standing in a place of light and of soul, cheats on anyone. These people, they respect bonds, they respect relationships. Healthy people just walk away, right? So whatever excuse you hear, it's because we weren't happy, it was a rush of a moment, it just happened. No, it doesn't happen. What happens is that you trip and fall, but not that you trip and fall on top of another person. Okay, so there's a very important component of you understanding that it has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with the quality of your love, quality of your relationship, and everything to do with that person, because it is their integrity. Someone who cheats is a person with no integrity. Do they have capacity to change? I, in my heart, believe everyone has that capacity, right? But that change requires time and deep reflection and a lot of work. So that doesn't change from one moment to another, right? And most definitely, if you are in a relationship that you were cheated on, you have to walk away, because that person will never change in a relationship. That deep of a change for someone who's a cheater, who has the capacity within them to be with another person and then go back home and look you in the eye as if nothing happened, it's a deep journey of healing that would need to happen for them to change and to accept and to take accountability. And it's a journey that happens in solitude. Okay, I just want to make it clear, because people who are wounded often take certain messages and oh, they can change, so I'm going to help him. No, that's not what I'm saying. Block, delete, heal your betrayal, heal your heartbreak, allow this person to do whatever they want with love and light and compassion. Block and delete, okay? But it's important here in for this collective, because the reason I was guided to read through this betrayal is you really have to focus this is what you need to let go. You have to, it may not be just in that full moon. It may require more work, but letting go and healing. I've seen so many people, you guys, that went through heartbreak and they went in a wrong direction. They went into denial, they went into blaming the person, because knowing that it was them, not you, does not mean pointing fingers and blaming. They started blaming relationship, blaming love, locking their hearts, becoming bitter, entering shallow relationships, or relationships where they were taking advantage of someone because they just didn't want to be lonely, but they didn't want to open their hearts, right? So that always ends up in hurting someone else. So I really want to make sure, this collective, that we're going to break this down. We're going to break down the situation, that you understand that you need to heal from this heartbreak, that you need to heal from this betrayal, that you need to let go, process, forgive yourself, trust in yourself more. Right now you're trusting in the universe, but you need to trust in yourself more. I feel like it's going to be one of those readings that I talk a lot, but for the right collective, and I always say this to you guys, even if it's just one person that I will help, I don't care. It's enough for me. So we're gonna give it exactly what the right collective needs. Gooiness. We have gooiness. So you would be, that I was sensing it in the beginning. Remember that you're a little sensitive, that stickiness, that gooiness, that there's a lot of emotion that you don't necessarily know how to handle. And I want to read through that, we have courage, that's nice. I want to read through the gooiness in a moment, because I feel there's an important message in there for you as well. Soul, that's a beautiful card. You're standing on a side of soul. Awakening, that's really nice. You guys, I know it's hard to hear these things, but this was meant to be. It was a karmic moment in your life that will open you. And we have faith. Oh my gosh. We have faith. We have trust, faith, courage, soul, awakening. Such a beautiful energy. You're sitting, your beautiful soul. This pain was meant to be. And once you come out of this properly, make sure you heal. Make sure you allow someone, a healer, a friend, however you want to approach this journey, to hold this space for you, right? If you heal properly from this heartbreak, this betrayal, you will emerge as a beautiful, aware person that stands in a place of their soul. And when we are in that place, we win already. We win already. Gooiness. Let's read through that gooiness. When we become overly emotional and sensitive, unable to handle and balance feelings of longing, sentiment, nostalgia, we can become a little gooey. It's important to understand it's not really about too much emotion, but our inability to balance the emotion within. There is nothing negative in being sentimental, sensitive, or emotion driven, as long as those feelings within are anchored in love and balanced with strength. When we are healed, we allow full spectrum of sensitivity within. We can be sweet, corny, romantic, sentimental, or cheesy. We are in touch with our soft side, and we are not afraid to express emotions with vulnerability. At the same time, we remain centered and stable. We are in control of our feelings and grounded in their expression. I don't know why. I was just seeing Bridget Jones. So maybe you are right now in pain. It's someone like surrounded by, like empty ice cream boxes and tissues and just watching romantic movies and crying. You guys, it's beautiful. If this is what you need, listen to your body. Listen to what you need. If you need to eat gazillions of boxes of ice cream and you need to cry and you need to be a little dramatic, Bridget Jones style, and like pour some, some eggnog on top of your ice cream and watch those movies and cry. Why did this happen to me? Do it. It's a release. What people doesn't get, and what most people do wrong in when we talk about heartbreak, betrayal, is they keep it inside. They try to like pretend that they're strong. They try to be like, I'm okay, I don't need this person, he or she like was a poo, like I'm fine, I'm gonna be all right, I already healed. No, post cheesy things about love and betrayal if you need to on social media, and cry if you need to, and eat that ice cream, and invite those girlfriends with like bottles of wine if that's what you need to do it. Watch that Bridget Jones. Feel into those emotions. Because if you don't, you're gonna hold it in, and exactly everything that this card mentioned will happen. You're gonna blame it on love, you're gonna blame it on relationship, and you're going to lock your heart. And even if you are one day again in a relationship, it won't be fulfilling. True relationships, you guys, are when we're open, when we're vulnerable, when we love to the max, when we give ourselves, when we give our hearts, when we give it all, right? True love is that, when we give it all. And when you lock your heart, you cannot give your all. So you're just going to have that partner that you're going to go for a weekend together, you're going to have that lunch together, you're going to be fine, but next to each other. That's not what we want. We want it all. We want fucking magic, right? But in order to get that, people think that it's something that happens to some, it doesn't to others. No! We need to be magic. We need to open our hearts. We need to have huge hearts and love with every cell of our body. Okay, so you need to grieve right now. You need to heal. I feel like this collective, you're gonna be going in phases. You can go in like those typical psychological phases of grief, right? Because releasing a relationship, something is dying, right? I always say this, when we form a relationship with someone, it's our energy, this person's energy, and we form a new entity, that it's our joint energies, right? And that, as we break up, it dies. It ceases to exist. It transmutes. Energy doesn't cease to exist, but it transmutes into something else. The question is into what you're going to transmute it, right? So I feel like this collective, you need right now this phase of corny movies and ice cream and that eggnog, right? And crying in front of TV and maybe sleeping all day. It's absolutely fine. And then once you're ready, you're going to need a mature healing. A mature healing. You guys know I always recommend coming to a healer. I always recommend having someone holding space for you, walking you through your shadows to fully understand the spectrum of your emotions, heal your heart. It's coming to my mind constantly. I have a guided meditation, Healing Broken Heart. It's available free on my YouTube. You can either search for it on my YouTube channel, or I think it's easier to go to my website, and in a healing tools or healing packages section, I have something like that, and in there there are all the offerings that I have, including, I think it's the third one that you're gonna see, Healing Broken Heart meditation. You can do it every day, you can do it every weekend until it helps you, right? Don't fall into that victim mentality. Don't fall into that victim mentality. Heal. You got this. You got this. You've awakened. You're standing in a place of soul. Look at this. You have the courage. You trust that everything will happen and will turn out well. You have faith. So many beautiful emotions. Number 7, number 17, 21, number 1. Maybe these has, I'm seeing because the numbers are on the reverse for this deck. Beautiful. Beautiful. Use it. Use this heartbreak. Use this heartbreak to know, what do I don't want in my life? What kind of partner I don't want in my life? Because if you don't heal it, even if you come across a soulmate, you will always be suspicious. You will always be afraid that you have to really understand betrayal. You have to break it down. You have to understand what betrayal is, where it comes from. Understand that it's a type of person that does that. Right? It's not the circumstances. It's not that you have to monitor your partner. There are people who do it, and there are people who would never do it. Never, under any circumstance. Because ultimately, you guys, ultimately, and I'm going to say it because maybe you need to hear it. Physical contact with someone, okay, intimacy, or even if it's just like kissing, holding hands, or whatever that betrayal is, because it's very important in a relationship to establish between two people what betrayal is. Because to me personally, for example, betrayal, it's not just physical contact and intimacy. It's so much more. Chatting with someone, flirting with, that's betrayal. And I'm not talking here about, I'm flirting with my neighbor so he can change my tire and I'm being nice, but I wouldn't do even that. I wouldn't do even that. To me, it's disrespectful towards your partner. If you have a man, if you have a partner, if the moment I see that someone is like a little bit flirtatious with me, I go like, don't touch my coat. Because in my mind, it's disrespectful towards my partner. Right? So it's very important. People have different understanding, and they have all the right to have different understanding of what is cheating, what is betrayal, right? So you have to understand what it is for you to make sure that you're not going to compromise on that with your partner, because it's not something, this is too big of a value, too big of a thing and a boundary to compromise on it in a relationship, right? So you really have to establish what that betrayal is and what that behavior should be once someone does commit to a relationship with you. And then you really have to understand that it is the type of person that does that. Because again, what I was saying, it is not a necessity. It is not a necessity, okay? People sometimes say this ridiculous thing, oh, it just happened. I made a mistake. It didn't just happen. It didn't just happen. Again, what can just happen? You trip and fall. What intimacy with someone, exchanging text with someone, kissing with someone, it doesn't just happen. You do it. You take a choice. And it has nothing to do with your partner, but everything to do with your integrity as a human being. So there are people on this world that they would never cheat on. Even if, let's say you are in an unhappy relationship, you know that you want to break it up with this person, you start to work through certain things, and then in the background, you meet the love of your life suddenly. A mature person just says to this person, we're going to be friends now until I really deal with this, right? So really, I want you to understand it because it's important. There's a reason I'm channeling it. There's a reason I'm saying this to you. So all right, I want to do a little confirmation, just real quick on your situation, and then we're gonna do tarot and some guidance. Oh. They'll be back. We don't want them. We don't want them. Oh, you guys, no. Now I understand the reason. Confirmation, I'm blocking. Love, you see that? Love. Love has nothing to do with betrayal, okay? Someone who betrays you, who cheats on you, doesn't love you. And I don't care what anyone says. Maybe it's because they're not capable. I don't care. But when you truly love someone, you would never do anything to hurt them. Never. And it's not even love, you guys. It's not even love, because if you no longer love somebody, but you know that one day in the past, I loved you, we had a relationship, out of respect to human beings, to life, you would never do such a thing. You have to look at this again. There's a balance between I am not judging this person, I don't call them names, I'm not pointing fingers, I don't care why they did that, I know they did that because they're hurt and wounded, but I have nothing to do with them. They'll be back, and I am not feeling this energy, you guys. I hope you're not going to be tempted. There's a reason I said to you very clearly that the fact that I believe in my heart as a healer and a shadow worker, okay, someone who teaches people to walk a path of healing, I obviously believe that anyone can change and has the capacity to change. But I'm going to repeat that to you once again. It's hard work. You have to want to change. You have to acknowledge you made a horrible mistake. And you have to embark on a journey of solitude, harm it a little, to really dive deeper into your unconscious psyche and in parts of your psyche that pushed you to do that horrible thing. So once they're back, if they're back, we are still, I think, in retrograde. Maybe that's why the release, the retrograde, I'm not sure whether the retrograde ends with the full moon or somewhere around those dates. Gambling, we have gambling. And I was hearing with that gambling that maybe you will want to risk it. Oh, don't. I mean, I always say this, you guys, you have your own path. Some things have to happen. Some people don't learn through advice of channelers, that I channel the messages of your guides. But my advice to you, not just as a healer, as an older sister, right? A woman to woman, don't. There are many things that we can forgive to men, but that betrayal, we should be like, and I always say this because this is my kind of vibe. I'm like Italian mobster, okay? Even in friendship, whoever wants to be around me, loyalty is number one. What you talk, how you talk about me when I'm not looking, what you do, this is integrity. Integrity is doing something that is the right thing when no one is watching. Not just being this perfect partner when you're watching, but then going around town and no one really knows that you have a girlfriend or you have a wife because you're constantly flirting with everyone. That's disgusting. That's disgusting, and it says everything about this person. Please don't take them back. Please. If you're tempted, text me. Water sign, we have water sign, so maybe it's a detail. Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, maybe one of you is water sign. Water is also your emotion, is the moon, is the subconscious mind. And we have cycles, confirmation, ending, close the cycle, bin. It's not something, again, I'm going to say this to you one more time. There are many things that we can forgive to men or to people, generally speaking. People sometimes do make mistakes in the sense that, they say something hurtful or they walk away from you in a non-mature way. We're humans. We'll always work in progress. But there are certain things that, despite the fact that you can have compassion and believe that this person may have capacity to change, it ain't gonna work out right now. It ain't gonna work out. You will never trust this person again. You have to accept that there is no love, because when we love someone, we never hurt them. Never hurt them. For a petty need to connect to someone else, to have a romance or an affair or some flirtation, no. Take it from a goddess of love. I teach love. I know what love is. No.